From Florida's Space Coast, this is Your Career.
Welcome to Your Career. I'm Debbie Featherston, your host, and with me, I have two guests who are experts in the area of manufacturing, which is a really hot and meaningful topic to us today. With me is Jayne Fifer, who is the president and CEO of VMA Manufacturing Alliance. Did I get that close?
That's correct.
All right, and thank you for being with me. And with me also is Sherry Reeves, who is the executive director of the Manufacturers Association of Central Florida.
Thank you, Debbie.
Great to have you.
Thank you.
Well, ladies, you know, for 4 decades, we've seen manufacturing on a steep decline. What was that all about? What has been going on?
Well, the highest number of manufacturing was in 1979, so that definitely covers the last 4 decades. And it began as manufacturers are in the business to make money. And the high wages were taking a toll, and so they would try to find locations where it wouldn't cost as much to be able to produce their products, because there is a lot of things that go into producing a product. So not only the materials, but the wages, regulations, taxes, healthcare. Those are all the things that made it very difficult for our USA manufacturers to be competitive in the global market because they have to sell their products. And so you've seen the steady decline of the manufacturers moving offshore.
Yeah, and I think that it started with, it definitely was around wages, but then we began to see, I think, a lot of legislation that was beginning to incentivize companies that were helping to build this global economy that we now have.
Well, there was a movement that we didn't have to make things here,
Correct.
that we would become research and development.
That's right.
But
I
we have
remember
definitely learned that that is not how you make a strong country.
No.
Our country was built on manufacturing. Manufacturing is the backbone of our nation, and so we need to bring back manufacturing here.
That's right.
For every one job that's created in manufacturing, you have down the supply chain of 10 more jobs.
Yeah.
So you have distribution, you have logistics, so you have a lot of other jobs that manufacturing will create.
Right, and I think about manufacturing where, depending on what type of manufacturing, there may be a lot of suppliers that that are feeding, right? That they're dependent on, and so there's other jobs that are spin-offs.
That's right.
That
well,
support,
and all the
right?
logistics that actually move their products.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that creates a lot of jobs as well.
Indeed.
And high-end jobs.
Right.
The multiplier effect in manufacturing is like, for every dollar, it's $1.81 that you bring back into the community.
Oh, that's impressive.
And so because manufacturing pays high-wage jobs, and so then they're able to buy homes, and they go to the dry cleaners, and they go to the grocery, and they're able to go to the restaurants because they can afford to do that. I cover Volusia and Flagler counties, and the average wage in manufacturing in our area is $49,000 a year, plus benefits, plus these are full-time jobs, plus they offer a career path.
Yeah.
Now, average, you know, it's not a starting wage, but it's an average wage.
Yeah.
And that's what we see in minimum wage when someone has no direction and they're not sure what they want to do and they graduate from high school. Many of them can go into manufacturing, and there's the ladder that they can actually go through the various disciplines and be able to get hired on. And if they're a good employee, a lot of our manufacturers will actually help pay for their education as long as it's toward the training of a discipline within the job.
Yeah. So let's kind of start with another question that I'm kind of curious about, and I think our viewers, anybody that hasn't really been connected to manufacturing for years. I mean, it used to be, when I was growing up, there were a lot of people in manufacturing. My dad and, you know, lots of our friends they were all in manufacturing, right? Whether it's Caterpillar or doing John, whatever, right? I lived in the Midwest. And,
So John Deere.
Yeah, John Deere, but Caterpillar was bigger in our area. So I'm kind of curious, how has manufacturing changed in recent years?
It's definitely the advancement of robotics and 3D printing. So just the materials that they use, the type of processes that they use are very advanced.
And there was so many regulations and the taxes, and then the healthcare, which probably pretty much decimated a lot of jobs for the manufacturers and for many many different types of industries, productivity is key.
Yeah.
So the manufacturers have learned how to be more productive with less people. And I think that this is an important point to make when you talked about the decline in manufacturing, and certainly we're talking about a resurgence. I mean, we are we are entering into the fourth industrial revolution. There's going to be an increase in manufacturing. And I want people to understand we are never going back to the number of people in manufacturing that we had in 1979.
Sure.
But what we are going to have are people that have to be much more highly skilled in order to be able to work in this fourth industrial revolution. As Sherry said, there's 3D, there's automation.
Sensors. I mean, when you look at how many sensors that are in your cell phone, and your flat screen television, in your car, sensors are everywhere. So it's very important that Americans understand that we want to be in control of our destiny. We want to make these products, and we have that opportunity. And when you talk about the products being made, I mean, I can list them for you if you'd like, but you know, we have defense, and we have homeland security, we have medical devices, but we also have automotive, and we have recreational. We have boat manufacturers. We have
and
a
you're
bicycle.
talking about just in the state of Florida.
I'm talking about just in the Central Florida area.
In Central Florida, okay.
And obviously we have all over the state.
Sure.
But we cover 4 counties. She covers 2. We cover Lake, Orange, Osceola, and Seminole. So the manufacturers you're looking at in Central Florida are 1,700 manufacturers, and you have over 19,000 manufacturers in the state of Florida.
Wow, impressive.
Yeah, we have 450 plus up in our Volusia, Flagler County area.
Go ahead and tell us, Jayne, give us a sense of some of the different types of manufacturers that you have represented there. Since Sherry was going that direction, I'm just curious.
Well, we have boating, we have medical, we have semiconductors. 64% of our manufacturers have less than 15 employees, and they provide products and parts of products that go into the larger manufacturers. But it's personal care products, suntan lotion, sunglasses. Those are the recognizable products. Candy, key lime pies. You know, those are all manufacturing. Anything you know, get up in the morning, mattresses. We make in our area.
Cheesecake.
Yeah, okay. You had me on key lime pie. But what I'm kind of curious about is when you think about the changes that have occurred within your manufacturing, how has that really impacted the workforce? I know more education, more knowledge, higher skill level.
STEM.
Anything else?
STEM.
Okay, STEM.
STEM is very important. And for those that are watching the show, STEM is the science, the technology, the engineering, and math. So you have to have individuals who understand that with these robotics and machines, you have to be able to know how to program these various types of machines.
What we're finding is we have a skilled labor shortage, and it actually stems from, even though I'm using it in a different vernacular, is people just are not aware that we have manufacturing. They're not aware of the opportunities that are available to them, that they can start with 0 skills to a doctorate in manufacturing. But unless they're willing to take a look at it, to say, oh, I didn't even think I could get a job in manufacturing. And then you have people think, well, manufacturing is working out on the manufacturing floor. But in manufacturing, they need salespeople, they need administrative people, they need purchasing people, they need HR people, they need executives. Logistics. So there are all kinds of jobs that are in manufacturing.
Plus, they still need operators, right? They still need people in quality control and
Quality.
shipping and receiving,
engineering,
and materials, and Okay.
Yes, all of those jobs.
And depending on the type of manufacturing, some of it could be CNC, welding. Again, you need very high end, and that's what people don't realize is many of these positions make 6 figures. Now, they don't make that right out of the gate, but with time and with experience, many of those positions are making more than people with higher education.
Right. And how do they go? Where do they go to get that? Can they come right out of high school? Can they get, are there certain certificates and get a job in manufacturing? Do they have to get some post-secondary education? What does that really look like? Just
so the answer to that is yes.
Yes.
Okay. So you come out of high school and get a job.
You can go right out of high school and you can get a job. We just did a manufacturing champion school counselor bus tour 2 weeks ago, And we had our school counselors talking to the HR directors at many of our manufacturing companies. And one of the companies, Teledyne Oil and Gas, our HR director there was talking about people can start right out of high school, and they get in there, they have the kinds of skills that are necessary, mechanical, math kinds of skills, the curiosity towards a mechanical bent, and these people are making 6 figures traveling around the world, putting products in and troubleshooting their products. So that's an opportunity that you can have a 4-year degree in, I don't know, pick something.
Psychology.
Yes, or women's studies, or you're not going to come out making that kind of money, and you're going to have the expenses of a 4-year college degree.
Right.
The other thing, Debbie, that's important is we have certifications. So there are various levels of degrees where these individuals can get their certificates, and then they articulate, and then they can go on and continue their educational credits.
Excellent, excellent.
And the great thing about this opportunity is every manufacturer needs safety. So they can start off with various types of certificates, reviewing and looking at safeties, and then from there, like I said, many of these certificates will articulate, and they can continue down the road. That's the great thing about it. It's like education is like the interstate. You can get on and you can get off. And when you're in a manufacturing facility, you can continue on that education. Again, if the discipline matches what you're looking to do at your job.
We have certifications in our high schools that prepare people. But you can get a 6-week certification, 3-month. Just as Sherry was saying, it's a highway that you can get on and off. And one of the certifications that is available at our Advanced Technology College, and we were showing our school counselors about it, and it costs like $2,600, and the person could, after getting that certification, could get a job starting at $41,000. So we asked them at the end of the day, what did they learn? And the one school counselor says, I learned $2,600 equals $41,000.
That's pretty impressive. And that's going to be very motivating for people that really are not interested in going on to college, but may have an interest in robotics, may have an interest in, the science, and
or maybe they just haven't found their way. And then once they find their way, then college may continue down a later path.
Certainly, but come at a little bit, maybe with more maturity after some more practical experience and confidence and skill has already been developed. Good points, very good points. Well, what kind of growth trajectory do you see manufacturing on?
Well, it's going to grow, and this is the reason why. Many of the things that the new president will put into place, he'll reduce regulations, they'll take a look at the health care plan that was put in place, they'll take a look at the taxes that will provide that'll ease up some of the costs of doing business. But what was happening even before President Trump was elected is there is a trend to bring the manufacturers back on shore. The reason being is you want to be able to produce your product locally to reduce your logistics costs. So you see, if, for example, one of the companies in our area makes dialysis liquids. Well, they are expanding their plant in the area because where they're located, in Daytona Beach, which has access to the highways and the railroads for all of the southeast United States, but also look at how close it is to South America.
Right, I was thinking shipping.
The shipping is right there.
With the Panama Canal, the widening of the Panama Canal.
So you're going to see a lot of companies coming back here to be able to produce the products here because they're going to save all of the logistics costs and the transporting
just going to be more
costs.
cost effective,
It's gonna be,
right? To do business here.
But what people have to understand,
here.
the products that we are going to manufacture in America are going to be your high-end products. So we're not looking to manufacture the various things that you find in the, your big box stores and so forth like that. So when it comes to defense, homeland security, medical devices, we really, as a nation, we need to be in charge of our own destination and destiny, I should say, and that's important that we manufacture our own products. Because we've seen what other countries have done, like China, and the type of products that they've manufactured. And
lead paint on toys, for example.
Right,
Really?
dog food.
Right.
drywall.
Yeah.
So that's the great thing about Americans is we've always been ahead in manufacturing,
Yeah.
and a lot of people don't realize that. We've always been ahead in manufacturing, and what's kept us ahead is our R&D, our research and development, our advancement, our technology, and how fast we're working, and Americans work very hard.
Absolutely. And don't you think, though, when there's more employment here, when there's more jobs that come back to the U.S., right, manufacturing jobs that come back in some of those areas, don't you think that there's going to be also an increase in the R&D, even though we've been doing okay in some R&D? I think there's some areas that we haven't been as strong in the R&D community, like telecommunications. I think there's been a little bit of a slippage there. You know, there's been, you know, RCA's been sold to a Chinese, wasn't it a Chinese company? Or, can't remember.
Japanese.
Foreign, Korea, where?
Okay, one of them.
It was Asian.
Asian, there you go.
So, but unfortunately, you know, there's been a slight loss, I think, in some of the R&D. I think it was kind of a false,
It was not a good plan.
no.
But also what's happening in R&D are the types of materials. With the 3D printing, they're obviously working with various types of plastics and making that product and growing that product literally from the bottom up. But they're doing that and starting to do that with metals as well. So more and more the 3D printing is coming out, and that there'll be a point, some point, Debbie, where your household, you'll have a part broken and you'll go down to your local store and be able to program, push some buttons, and it'll make the replacement.
Very impressive. And there's a company locally that sold 3D printers to, you know, anyone. They weren't selling it to commercial units. They were selling these units to people like myself or you. Anybody could have it in their home, and their kids could explore with it. And it was just amazing. And really, those 3D printers, it sounds like to me that is really it's accelerating the, you know, time that it takes to get to market.
Right. And customization.
Right, customization, because they've got the prototype. I mean, they have the concept. They do, you know, so instead of going through.
And it's exciting to young people.
Yes.
I've seen that with young people when they have the opportunity to see some of the great manufacturing that's going on. It really excites them. They want to be a part of that, which is what we want.
Absolutely.
To get those young people involved in manufacturing.
Absolutely. So what do you think represents the biggest challenge or the biggest opportunity for manufacturers today, given what we're talking about with Trump being in office and some of the changes that he's going to make in policy, taxation, incentivizing manufacturers to come back here? What do you think?
And one thing I also want to say, policies have to be changed on a federal basis, but they also have to be changed on a state level.
Yeah.
And we're lucky that we have a governor that really supports manufacturing, and he understands how important that industry is to the state and to the economy, the economic growth of Florida.
The biggest challenge, which also can be an opportunity, can be stated in one word: workforce. Workforce. I have a couple of hundred jobs that are available right now that we cannot find the skilled workers for.
I saw a statistic last week, and they said right now there are 10,000 baby boomers a day retiring. Now that's across all industries, so that's not just manufacturing, but 10,000 baby boomers a day are retiring up until 2020. So we're losing a lot of that tribal knowledge, as we say.
Right.
And that's why it's so vital that these associations work with the manufacturers, work with the educational institutions, but also our communities, that they have to understand the importance of this industry.
Right, right, right. Well, I think that's very interesting because, you know, I see your organizations, right, both associations that are supporting manufacturers, as really being the linchpin, right? Because you're the connector that can help the manufacturers realize where they can go to get the training, right? And yet you can connect the schools and the manufacturers to sit down and have a conversation, so the schools are really training the people to be ready to meet the immediate need, instead of having this gap in knowledge, even though people are paying for this education and training. So I applaud you for that. Now, you also provide other kinds of resources and support. Tell me a little bit more about the support and resources that you have available to manufacturers.
Manufacturing trade associations were established to provide information, education, and networking to help its members grow. And so that is the core of our responsibilities. So some of the things that we do in order to be able to connect our manufacturers to each other, because we connect them to each other and to the community,
Right.
we have monthly plant tours where people can go in and see how other people do their processes. People can learn what products are made in the area. We have a quick take survey feature when one of our members wants to know what other people are thinking. For example, I sent one out this morning. They want to find out where people are buying their office supplies, you know, because they want to have the most cost-effective things. And then that happens every day. Somebody's got a question for something. Last week, somebody had some file cabinets that they wanted to get rid of. So I put it on a quick take survey, you know, and 2 hours, somebody was over their place picking them up. So they got them out of their office, and the other company got these file cabinets that were there. We have an awards program so that people can learn about the best in manufacturing. We have a manufacturer showcase where we show the skills and capabilities of our manufacturers. And we have it once a year. We have it in October, which is Manufacturing Month. And the manufacturers have a display. They talk about what they're capable of doing, and then they learn from each other what they can do. A lot of times the manufacturer can be right on this corner, and there's one here and one here, and they had no idea that they were going to Indiana to get this little part made for them, and the company across the street could do it for them. And then we embed in there a robotics competition for students so that the engineers can see what the students are doing, the students can see all the different manufacturers that are here. We have different division meetings for human resources and finance and operational excellence, anything that we can do so that the manufacturers can connect to each other. It's a trade association, which means the corporation belongs and all of their employees can participate in any of the activities that we do.
And the same thing for MACF. And so, as Jayne said, we had 2 manufacturers in Lake County, and one was getting his product from the Midwest and did not realize a few miles away there was a manufacturer in his county who could help make his product.
Same quality, same specs.
Everything, everything. The other thing I think is important, because I know, Jayne, you're like me, as a trade association, we become a jack of all trades for our manufacturers. But something that we do as regionals is, in the month of October, is Manufacturing Month. And NAM, the National Association of Manufacturers, 6 years ago, had the first Friday of every October as Manufacturing Day. And Governor Scott signed a proxy a year later and said, let's make the entire month of October Manufacturing Month. So that's where Jayne and I work with our local schools, the students, the counselors, the teachers, and our manufacturing companies to get these young people into our manufacturing facilities so they can see all these different opportunities. And you would think a student, an engineering student, would think of manufacturing. We actually had 50 engineering students fill out a survey on their way to a company, Mitsubishi Hitachi. Not one of them said yes to manufacturing. After they took the tour, same survey on the way back to school, and we had several that said yes, they would definitely look into being an engineer in manufacturing. So you have a lot of young people out there that are very smart, but they still don't put that education and apply it.
They don't make the connection, do they, between, and I think it's because the prior 4 decades, manufacturing's been on decline, and that's all they've heard. And so they don't even think about it. And I think probably the visual concept that they have, or the vision that they have of it, is it's a dirty, unsafe, you know, environment, where today,
it's very clean. You can eat off the floor in the manufacturing plants.
And we do fun things. I mean, we have, as Jayne, we have recreational manufacturing going on. So we have various types of boats, from ski boats to full line big, huge boats.
okay, yachts?
Yachts, that's what I wanted to say, thank you. Yachts. So, I mean, there's all types of boats that are being made.
Well, interesting. So I told you we have the Manufacturing Champions School Counselor Bus Tour. So our schools up in Flagler County decided they wanted to replicate that with their high school juniors and seniors.
Oh, great.
So last Friday, we did it up in Flagler, And one of the places the students toured was Sea Ray Boats. And they actually took the students on rides on the yachts that are produced up at Sea Ray. They were blown away. They definitely are thinking about manufacturing now.
And we've done the same at Correct
Sure.
Craft because they manufacture nautique boats.
Yeah.
So it just really gets the students excited and gets them that opportunity. But as Jayne said, there's so many other careers within the manufacturing facility that people don't think about. And many of our manufacturers are small to medium, but it's very important that they exist because they're the ones that feed into our larger manufacturers.
Well, it's the mom and pops that are really, you know, where the economy is really on their backs. And so it's good that, you know, I think it's really encouraging to hear that there's some changes coming from Washington to help the smaller employers.
Yes.
So that's good. Well, it has been a delight to be with you, and I'm just curious, any parting words, any final words that you might have for our viewers about considering manufacturing?
Well, I want them to think when they get up in the morning and every product that they touch, that we make it here.
Great.
They're great jobs, great opportunities, and there's a beautiful future for them or for their children in manufacturing.
I think that's really encouraging, and one who has grandchildren, I'm really excited about that because there's a couple of them I have an eye on that I think would be perfect for love robotics, get into gaming, and I think, given what I'm learning, great skill sets. Well, ladies, thank you for your time. Thank you for this information, and thank you for all the good work that you do in your communities.
Thank you.
Well, on behalf of my guest and everyone here on the set of Your Career, thank you for watching, and remember, be career happy.
More information about this program is available online at millermediagroup.org.